How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of your favorite swim bait podcast, Scales and Tails, episode 183 with Mr. the King. You guys might be familiar with Mr. the King, or you might not be. I don't know. Mr. the King right now actually has a better setup than I have. If you guys are watching on
I
YouTube,
do.
it probably looks like you're watching Geoffrey on his actual YouTube channel, but he's actually he has the highest quality streaming camera because he is a streamer. You guys might not know that. Geoff is a streamer, full-time streamer that just so happens to dabble in swimbait fishing. If you guys don't know that, now you do. What's that big Rumble? If you guys are interested, you can watch him on Rumble or there's another one too. I can't remember what the other what the other streaming service
Kick.
is. Kick, yeah, there you go, Kick. Geoff try streams on all the big platforms. So if you guys
Yeah.
don't know that, go
Yeah.
check him out. That's why his camera setup looks so good. But Mr. the King, if you guys are not familiar, he has a YouTube channel. I've been told fishes.
Yeah.
Uh,
A little. A little.
Lives in somewhere where there's like no humidity in the air, like ever. Unless
Oh,
there is,
just
and it's really
dry.
bad. So I don't know. You guys might be
Yeah.
familiar. He joined us on episode 126 with Phoenix all the way. You want to take a guess when that was?
Ooh, episode 126. That had to have been 2023
Yeah, you want to take a guess on
of
the month?
November.
What month?
November.
Yeah,
November.
November 30th.
Wow. Holy smokes.
And
It's been
and
a long time.
yeah, and the that was you and Phoenix because you guys had just gotten back or just no, I
Yeah,
think it
we
was
just
yeah,
gotten
Phoenix
back.
just got back from his first trip. And then
Yeah.
the before
Yeah.
that, the first time you ever came on was episode 107, which I thought it was further apart, but that came out in August 28th, 2023. So that was the last time you were on
Oh,
solo.
really?
Then the other time you were
Holy
co-hosted
smoke.
with Feener. So it's been
Almost two
does
years.
not seem like it's really been that
No.
long. It never feels
No.
that long when it's like guys I talk to like on a decent amount, like decent basis.
Yeah, on
So
a regular basis.
yeah, it's just like it's crazy. Like I remember that episode, and to know that that was 160 episodes ago, that's kind of crazy to think about.
Wild, dude. And here we
Abs
are.
Absolutely insane. And here we are.
Um,
Yes.
I have a question for you, Adrian.
Oh, okay, okay.
How do you say water in Japanese?
Mizo,
Try it again.
Mizu,
No. Mizu.
Mizu. Okay, okay. Konnichiwa, Geoff-san. Adrian des. Uh, what do we could say like this ramen is tasty or that ramen is tasty. We could go that rice is tasty. We could
Wait,
go
wait. What's rice in Japanese?
rice is gohan.
Okay. All right.
Ocha,
What
green tea.
okay, green tea. Okay. Um
Oshi, is that tasty? Oshi,
Oishi.
oishi. See, this
Oishi
is
is
like
tasty.
I need to hop on a video call with like you or Marsh like every day after I do
Yeah,
my
you
little
have to.
packet lesson
Just got it.
because like I'll be
Keep it in
sitting at work and I'll be
rotation.
saying it to myself and I'm like, how am I supposed to know if this is right? Like it's myself
Right.
interpreting
Yeah.
what I've been trying to learn. Like I'm not the best teacher, this checker of myself. Um,
Hey, as long as you're practicing, it's better
yes,
than Marshall.
yeah.
So
Actually, Marshall's video yesterday with Sammy, like Marshall was doing pretty good. Well, it
I
sounded pretty
think,
good. I'm not that advanced yet, so I
I
can't say if it was good or not. But
yeah, it's definitely gotten better, and you would hope so since he's been there for a month now.
yeah,
And so, yeah, I think obviously being over there it helps learning it, and you got to use it every day because
hmm
when you go through your daily life, you have to speak to people in Japanese, or you
yeah,
just have to listen to it or read it. It's like it it forces you to become better at it,
hmm
especially if you want to fish with a bunch of Japanese
yeah,
bros. So he's gotten better at it. He's getting there. He's definitely getting there, but
yeah.
he has a lot of work to go. There's a lot of work to go.
Listening to him fish with Gosan, and then you fish with Gosan. It's like, oh. Yeah, Jeff has been doing it a little bit longer. You're carrying on like a fluid conversation. It's like, Marshall's there, but he's not all the way there yet. He's still kind of
Yeah.
he's still got a light translation going on there.
I the thing with Marshall is Marshall will throw out words and kind of just put words together. He's not
Yeah.
making like fluid sentences. He just throws out the correct words and the Japanese guys understand.
Yeah.
And it's good enough. And so having Sammy to fish with is pretty big because
hmm
Sammy is okay
Yeah.
enough at English, so you can still talk to him with English.
hmm
But if you could just use the words that are kind of correct, he'll understand what you're saying.
Yeah. The
So
sentence
it's
structure
nice.
thing, like the lesson I'm on right
Yeah.
now is like all about like ordering food and stuff. And the sentence structure is like the
Yeah.
why at the end or before the object to claim that's what you're talking about, or
Right.
it's
Yep.
interesting. Like I'm understanding it, but it's like when it comes up with something, like it'll ask me a couple questions in a row. I'm like, oh, this is get 4 or 5 in a row, and then it hits me with one, and I got to sit there for a second, and I'm like, there's no real object. It's or like object in the sentence. It's just
Yeah.
saying that that is tasty,
Yep.
and it's like, oh man. And then sometimes like this and that are the
Yep.
two that I get mixed up because they look so similar.
Really?
Yeah, it's koi? No.
Korewa.
Yeah, and then what
Kore.
is
And sore.
yeah, so dude, when I'm looking
Sore.
at that and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I know which one it is." And then they both come up on the screen at the same time and I'm like, "Oh, I'm
Yeah.
cooked. I'm getting this one
Oh fuck.
wrong." There was another thing. I think it was doctor and there was another one like
Okay.
describing or like a person word. It was like doctor and I can't remember. It wasn't lawyer, it wasn't teacher, maybe it was student. There was two like
Student.
yeah, there was two words that kind of like sounded a little similar and it was like, oh
Oh,
dude,
okay.
I'm just gonna have to like
Just messes with your
yeah.
brain or
Yeah,
what?
exactly. Yeah, I'd pop up and I'd be like, oh shit. Uh,
Yeah, it's one of these two. I
Yeah,
don't know
exactly.
which
I
one it
know which
is.
one it is, and
Yep.
I know if I get it wrong, it was
Yeah.
definitely the other one. Picture this: the sun rising over the mountains, your line gets tight, and the fight of a lifetime begins. Welcome to Lake Backarrack Lodge, Mexico's premier largemouth bass fishing lodge. Nestled in the heart of the Sierra Madre Mountains, Lake Backarrack Lodge offers world-class fishing, luxury accommodations, first-class hospitality, and expert guides who know where the grandes live. Whether you're chasing giants or kicking back after a day on the water with a frosty, cold, bottomless margarita, we've got you covered. Home to some of the biggest bass in the world, Lake Backarrack is truly an angler's paradise. Don't miss your shot at the bass of a lifetime. Book your trip now at www.lakebackaracklodge.com or call 806-316-8382 today. Lake Backarrack Lodge, truly the best in bass.
Right. Yeah. That happens so much, dude, where there's a lot of words that are like, whether you're trying to read it or you're trying to say it, where they're so similar. And it's like, well, it's a 50-50 here.
Yeah,
Oh, I got it wrong. Okay. I'll try and remember next time. And then
right.
you get it wrong again. And you're like, gosh, darn it. It's so hard sometimes to remember exactly which one it is because
Yeah,
the symbols could look very similar or the word itself could sound similar. And you're like, it's just a 50-50 in my
yeah,
brain. I don't
yeah.
know.
And the thing that you and I were talking about a couple days ago is like when it's like the speech one and they say it to me and I have to do the sentence structure, the hardest
Yeah.
part,
Yeah.
I have to listen to it twice and then I've got to listen to it once slowed down because they'll be like they'll not necessarily sneak a word in, but it's like the objective word or like at the end of the sentence where
hmm
they what is it, ka? That's like the like a question.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some times like where I'll listen to that and it's like des ka or something and they just kind of glaze over it and I'll type it all out and I'll
Yeah.
be like, no, this is I gotta listen to this one more time because I'm not getting this thing wrong
Yeah.
because I
Hold
missed
on.
one little word in there.
Yep. Yeah. There's like a lot of the small things where when you're listening, you might be able to pick up on like,
hmm
I heard them say green tea
hmm
and then I heard them say des.
Yeah.
but I know they said something in
Hmm.
between. I don't know what that was.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you go back,
Maybe
you're
this
like,
green tea is
oh,
delicious, or maybe I
yeah,
don't know which
yeah.
one it is.
And you're like, how did they squeeze that in without
Yeah.
me hearing it? Like, it makes no sense.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like it's a lot of fun, but sometimes like
Yeah,
I've found myself like I'll learn like three lessons, I'll go for like 45 minutes, and then after that
yeah.
third lesson, especially if they like jump up a lesson, so I'm getting new words and stuff, so
Hmm.
I'm trying to remember like 20 words for one lesson. I'm like, "Oh, I'll
Right.
come back to
Yeah.
this tomorrow." Like I
A
can't
little too
overload
much.
myself
Yeah.
on this. Yeah. And the
But
other
it's fun.
thing, the other thing we talked about is like to like essentially like find your voice. That's like what I'm having the
Yeah.
biggest trouble with is finding out how to speak like because when I
Hmm.
listen, like I copy it like verbatim, like same pitch and everything. And
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
do this.
Yeah.
Like I've got to establish my
Yeah.
voice with how
It's
I'm
tough.
talking. Yeah.
Yeah. You have to just become a little more comfortable with it and
Yeah.
just say it. So, like, for that, what I was trying to do is like, I try and match up how I would talk in
Mm-hmm.
English,
Mm-hmm.
and then I just try and convert that over into Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
So when I say a certain sentence or something like that in English,
Mm-hmm.
I try and have that same cadence and same flow, but just in Japanese.
Yeah.
And that's been able to allow me to remember the sentences a lot more
Mm-hmm.
and just be a lot more confident and fluent with it when I
Right.
say those things. It's like how I say it in English is how I should say it
Mm-hmm.
in Japanese. I shouldn't be too like robotic with
Yeah.
it. So that's probably the biggest thing is like when you think about how you would say it in English normally, just try and convert that to
Mm-hmm.
Japanese and say it with the same cadence and flow,
Yeah.
and you'll start getting it down.
Yeah, I put a lot of emphasis on it when I'm talking. Like when I send voice messages to like Marshall and Phoenix, they're
Yeah.
like Marshall will just
It's like
laugh and Phoenix has no idea what's being said. So it's just like
right. Yeah, no, he's clueless, dude.
what
Phoenix has like a few sentences and that's it. That's all
yeah.
he's got.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it's been fun. I think today was my 20th day logging on to Duolingo and doing
Okay.
it for like
That's
20
good.
minutes. So I am
There you go.
taking like I'm going nice and slow, taking a couple lessons a day, not overdoing it.
Yep.
And once I like start getting a couple
Yep.
wrong, I'm like, okay, I'll come back tomorrow, new fresh
Yeah.
brain.
Let me slow down.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yep.
when I sit at work, like I'll just kind of repeat like phrases and sentences and stuff or like go through words in my head just to nail it home a little bit more, just for
Right.
something to
Yep.
do. Like I'm like, well, it's better than not thinking about it except for 20 minutes every day. Like that's kind of when
Right. Yeah.
that's like when it's you're not seeing many results very fast at all or
Yeah.
ever really.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, 20 minutes is really nothing
Yeah.
nowadays because time flies.
Hmm.
Like for me, I might be like, hey, let me study for like an hour. And then all of a sudden I'm studying for like 3 hours
Yeah.
and I haven't studied very much. I'm like, oh yeah. Like nowadays, if you want to really get anywhere, and even in fishing itself, but like with anything, you have to put in so much time. And when you're enjoying that time, it's pretty easy to get through.
Hmm.
So like those 3 hours can fly by on
Yeah.
some sessions where I'm studying Japanese, and other times it is an absolute grinder because I'm getting nothing right. And I'm
Hmm.
like, wow, I literally am just an idiot today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, let me put this stuff down and come back to it later.
Hmm.
Like it's like so up and down when it comes down to studying Japanese, but being able to go over there, it helps so much
Yeah.
because you
Right.
actually
Right.
get to use it in real time.
Hmm. Yeah, and that's like what I
But
said, like
I just
being
need,
able to hop on a call and like talk with somebody or like go over words or something like that, I think
yeah,
would probably help
yeah,
so
it's
much.
crucial.
Like just
Yeah,
being able to
it's so
like say
crucial.
something and you being like, nah, okay, like yeah, it's close, but you got to put a little more
It's
emphasis at
close,
the
right?
end or you got on like the
Yeah,
last syllable or whatever else it may be. That definitely helps a lot because on like Duolingo when it does the speech problems and like you say it and you're like, I don't know if that's exactly right, and it's just like ding,
right.
five in a row, and it's like, man, you guys are cutting me some slack
Eh,
here, and that's not really the best way
right.
to be
Yeah,
going about it right now.
right.
So, I don't know.
I
It's
just need
fun.
you to come to Japan. I
Yeah,
just
I
need you
know.
to come to Japan.
I could get us
That's
some
it.
ramen, some sushi, water, green green tea, and what's the other one? There's one more. Oh, curry, cake, pizza. Uh, there was another one. I can't remember what it
Uh,
was.
That's funny.
That those are all the ones that I'm caught up to right now.
Hey,
But it's been
that all
fun.
that can get you through Japan.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean,
That's all you need to know.
yeah. Please, thank you. I mean, you're set. Hello, my name
You're
is.
already set.
Yeah, how to address somebody? I'm perfect. I can go live there. Extend my 90-day visa and I'll be set.
Oh God, it's
So,
so good.
speaking of Japan, that little ramble we were just going
Yep.
on, the teaching lesson, you just got back a couple of weeks ago, like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks
Yep.
ago now.
Yep.
Got back from Keepcast. How was that? That was your second event at Keep, or that was your second Keepcast event?
Third.
Third? Okay,
So
okay.
I went for the first time in 2023. Then I went again last year, and then this was a third time. Uh, um, Keepcast is definitely my favorite show to go to in Japan. So with Keepcast is kind of like it's more of an event made for the actual individual.
Yeah.
So, you'll have other shows that are very similar to like an iCast or other types of shows like that where you go and you kind of look at
Like a
product. You
display
can't buy
stuff.
anything. You're just
Yeah.
there to look at product. Where with Keepcast, a lot of those big brands like Depths, DRT, Raid Japan, Hide Up, like those types of brands, they'll have their booth. And at their booth, they'll have these raffles.
Mm,
And you have to kind of buy into a raffle. And buying into a raffle could be 500 yen, it could be 1,000 yen, it could be 2,000 yen. Kind of just depends on whatever booth you go to. But you basically buy a raffle to have a chance of buying a high ticket item. So every booth will have some type of limited high ticket item. So let's just go with DRT.
yeah.
DRT will have a few selection of items that you are able to buy. So I think the highest ticket item was the Arctic Cyclone, their new rod that they have. And so they'll spin this wheel thing,
Yeah.
and there's like maybe 5 or 6 different colored like steel balls.
Yep.
And the best colored one is gold, the normal one is silver, and then there's some in between. So if you walk up, you show that you bought a raffle and they spin the thing. If a gold ball comes out, then you have the ability to buy that Arctic Cyclone.
Mm,
But if a silver ball comes out, that's not very good.
yeah.
And you might have a shot of buying like socks, a hat,
Hmm.
or something very small like that.
Yeah.
And so they make these tiers, but you have to buy a raffle, a chance to win, just to be able to have a chance of buying some type of item.
Mm,
You can't just walk up and just buy an item. And you don't, if just because you win the gold ball doesn't mean you get the rod for free.
yeah.
You have to buy the rod. You just get a
Yeah.
chance to buy the rod. And that's how basically every booth is at Keepcast. And obviously, to an American, when we think of stuff like that, we think of like, when they do like a raffle or something like that, and you win the golden ticket,
Right.
it's free.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you
You won
get
it.
the item for free.
Yeah.
That's not a thing in Japan, and it hasn't been a thing in Japan. And so when us American bros go over there, it kind of trips us out where it's like, so you have to pay to have a chance of buying a rod
Yeah.
at this event.
Yeah.
But it's seen as normal in at Keepcast. And
Hmm.
so nobody's complaining, nobody's saying anything
Yeah.
weird. And so it's very different, but the atmosphere there is a lot better than at like an Osaka show or a
Mm,
Yokohama show. Like Keepcast is majority a bass fishing event. Yeah, there's some saltwater stuff, there's some trout stuff, there's some camping stuff, but for the most part, a lot of the booths are surrounded by bass fishing. So most of those guys there are into bass fishing in some way, shape, or form.
yeah.
It's a really really fun event. DRT goes every other year.
Mm,
So last year they weren't there. The year before they were there, and of course this year they were there.
yeah.
And the line when DRT shows up is just ridiculous. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands of people that line up just to have a shot to go to the DRT booth and get something from
Hmm.
DRT. So DRT definitely still has a very strong hold
Yeah.
on Japan, and they're just they're just that one brand right now in Japan that like everybody wants. It's hype, it's cool. And so when they show up, everybody shows up. And that's what Keepcast is. That's like the main event at Keepcast is to go to DRT to get a shot of something.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
so excuse me, put it in perspective for guys here. Like that's like when you guys fill out those giveaway things at the mall to win that brand new boat or whatever, and you got to pay sales tax on it. It's kind of the same thing. Like your name gets drawn, but you've
yeah.
still got to fork over, the money to you guys. You just get the opportunity to get it. You still have to pay for it.
Well,
Essentially.
I guess the best way to I think the best way to describe it is like buying a scratcher.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
have to buy the scratcher, and if you get lucky, you can win $10 million,
Yeah.
right? Or you get nothing.
Yeah.
Or
Yep.
you might meet in the middle where it's like, I bought this scratcher, I bought five of them, I spent, I don't know, $30 or whatever, and then on one of those scratchers, I won $250.
Hmm.
So it's very similar to that,
Yeah.
where you're
Yep.
buying a chance to win like this huge prize, I
Yeah.
guess, kind of is I'd say is probably the closest thing to that. So,
Yeah. That's
but
how. That's
overall, it's
how.
a really really fun event.
Yeah. That's how Bass Rock does their, because they only make like 10 to 15 baits a month. And he was explaining
Yep.
that. He's like, yeah, we
Yeah.
do like a lottery. And so I figured it was just like everybody puts their name in, for free, and then winner gets the chance to buy it. But it's probably like
Yep.
what you said. It sounds like that's kind of the common thing over there as
Well,
far as like for everybody to get
it's
into.
it's only like that for Keepcast. So
Oh,
for a lot of those Japanese brands that like a Bass Rock or a Lawless or some of those smaller brands where, like you said, they might only make
yeah.
100 baits for the entire country and only a few select shops will get them.
Yeah.
At those shops, they will have like a small window where you're able to enter
Mm.
for free for the shop to buy the lure.
Wow. Yeah.
And so if a shop gets 15 baits and you have 300 guys that enter the raffle, well, only 15 guys will have a shot to buy the lure.
Mm.
For something like that, you don't have to pay.
Mm.
Only at Keepcast, it's like that.
Okay. Huh. I mean,
But
it makes sense. Like if Andrew
yeah, it's
Hinkle was
just
to do something like that, like I'm sure people wouldn't bat an eye. They'd be like, "Oh man, like I'll enter a chance into buying or
yeah,
getting a Hinkle
especially if
trout."
you were guaranteed the lure, then I would assume. But like it's kind of weird. Like obviously we have our ways. Like here, there's pre-orders
Hmm.
on stuff, right? And we all know how pre-orders go,
Yeah.
especially with people like a Hinkle or with other companies where you spend this money and you might never even see the lure,
Hmm.
or it might be 2 years before you see the lure. So where the Japanese bros are like, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to give them to shops, and the shops can try and have like this lottery system.
Yeah.
And if you win, then great, you have a shot of buying the lure. So I don't know. I don't think there's any perfect way to do it at this
Yeah.
point, especially with bait makers making so little baits. But
Hmm.
that's how the Japanese guys have done it, and it doesn't seem like many people complain.
Mm. Is Raid
So
and OSP big over there like it is like currently here? Like is it kind of like the conventional like DRT, like where there was a crap ton of people trying to get to their booths to buy stuff, or is it kind of more like our like Rapala Berkeley style, like where they're big names but they're not like people aren't lining up the door like they would be for like a Piz?
so Raid Japan is very very popular in Japan.
Mm,
Raid Japan's whole philosophy is they want to make the highest end gear for guys that aren't doing the tournament stuff.
mm,
So when you think about tournament fishing, at least in Japan, it's all about the highest possible gear. Like,
mm.
I mean, we want the latest and greatest Daiwa, we want the greatest rods, like,
Yeah.
and when it comes down to the regular guy who fishes for fun or he shore fishes, there wasn't really a company making high end rods or high end baits or anything like that for the guy that just wants to shore fish.
Mhm.
And so Raid's philosophy is like, hey, we're gonna make gear that is high end, but made for the guy that shore fishes or
Yeah.
fun fishes. And that's kind of their whole thing. They have a couple like guys that fish tournaments on the pro staff, but what's made them popular throughout the years is just the shore fishing aspect and making rods dedicated for guys that can only bring one rod,
Hmm.
maybe two rods on a shore fishing mission. That the rod is strong, it's durable, but it's still super high end. It's sensitive, it's
Yeah.
nice, it's stylish. Like that's kind of Raid's thing. And so Raid has become very, very popular in Japan for that reason. Because obviously there's more guys that are going to shore fish or rental boat style than there are guys that chasing the tournament dream.
Hmm.
So they catered more to that and they've had great, great success. Now, the founder of Raid, he's probably top 10
Mm.
famous bass fishermen in Japan.
Oh, wow.
And so at Keepcast, he had an appearance and he showed up, and there was quite a long line wanting to take photos with the guy. His name's Kanamori. And so I met him last year and he was pretty cool, pretty chill. But yeah, very famous. So there was a huge line at Raid Japan to take a photo with this Kanamori guy. Um, so Raid Japan, very, very popular. OSP OSP isn't as big in
Mm.
Japan.
Hmm.
There's reasons for that. The owner of OSP, let's just say he's not looked up to in the
Not
same light as Kanamori.
not well perceived
He's
with
a
the people.
little yeah, people there's an image of the
Mm.
owner of OSP and I don't want to, you know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
say much, but let's just say he's not looked in the same light as the Raid owner.
Hmm.
So OSP, they make good quality stuff, but overall, they don't have what Raid Japan has.
Mm.
Um, they make good quality stuff again, but I think OSP's idea and brand is more tournament focused rather than shore fishing.
Mm.
And it seems like brands in Japan, they kind of go these two separate routes. They
Yeah.
either cater towards shore fishing guys or they cater more towards the tournament side.
Mm.
And, it's kind of, I don't know if we have something like that here in the States. Because here in the States, tournament fishing is kind of like the biggest thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like if you're a tournament pro, then that's a big deal. And so everybody kind of looks at tournament guys as like, yep, this if they say something that is factually correct and I have to buy it, I have to get it.
Yeah.
Where in Japan, tournaments aren't as big. It's more like we're gonna go rent a boat on this lake or we're gonna go shore fishing. There's much more of those guys.
Hmm.
And so for Japan, a lot of the companies they want to cater more towards that side of bass fishing.
Yeah.
While here, there is a lot of shore guys. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of shore guys. There's a lot of guys fun fishing, but a lot of guys love fishing tournaments. If you have a bass boat, you probably fish tournaments. Or even nowadays, if you have a kayak, they have tons and tons of kayak tournaments now, right? And a lot more guys are able to get a kayak rather than a bass boat. And so I think companies have always kind of relied on tournaments and tournament guys to sell to and sell for.
Yeah.
While Japan, not as many tournaments going on over there. A
Mm.
lot more shore guys, a lot more rental boat stuff. And so it's kind of this yin yang. So
Yeah.
OSP is kind of more the tournament aspect of it, while Raid Japan is more of like the shore fishing rental boat guys. And so in Japan, OSP isn't as popular, where OSP here in the States, very, very popular.
Yeah.
Raid Japan,
Hmm.
kind of,
Hmm.
but not as big as OSP.
Yeah.
But it's just flipped in Japan.
Wow.
So that's how those two brands kind of stack up.
Hmm. That's crazy. Is that why? So I haven't really talked to anybody about it, but is that why like the bank fishing tournament series like that Lure Mag does, is that why it's kind of like such a big deal because it's a little bit of both? It's a little bit of the bank fishing scene like mixed in with the tournament fishing scene too. It's like you can watch it and
Yeah.
it's like this is everything that fishing has to
Yep.
offer bundled up into one thing. This is so cool.
Yeah. So, a lot of the very, very popular 1v1 challenges that you see come out of Japan, they have like these big name,
Yeah.
fishermen, whether they're tournament guys or whatever, and they bring them down to the average fisherman's level, which is shore fishing. And
Mhm.
so these guys, they will pick like, all right, 1v1 on this particular body of water that everybody kind of knows and fishes. And so for the average guy, that shore fishes that same spot, he knows that that place is very, very difficult.
Yeah.
So to see, professional
Hmm.
or a really, really good fisherman go and dissect the body of water that
Yeah.
he fishes already, game changing.
Hmm.
That changes somebody's life where it's
Yeah.
like, holy smokes, I fish that same bridge that guy's fishing, but he fishes it slightly bit different than I had,
Yeah.
and he had success. And so it gives much more credit to that angler
Hmm.
who's in those 1v1s. And so
Hmm.
those are so much more popular than if you had tournaments on like Biwa with bass boats. Like
Yeah.
you don't really see 1v1s on Biwa or
Right.
really on any of the other lakes that would require having a full-on bass boat.
Hmm.
A lot of the 1v1s is from shore fishing. And I think that's because most people fish from shore or they do the rental boat stuff.
Yeah.
So
Huh.
that's why that's that.
Right. Based off the bass boat thing, was there so like when you go to an expo here in the US, I feel like it feels like anymore now half the event center is filled of boats like bass boats, pontoons, and that sort of thing.
Hmm.
Does
Hmm.
Keepcast like I know that there was a couple like little displays of, like the smaller bass boats and stuff. Is that
Hmm. Hmm.
you kind of made it say like it's a market, but it's not necessarily like a market like we have here. So is that kind of the same thing
Hmm.
where there was a couple of the boat manufacturers at Keepcast, or was it like strictly like gear style booths and stuff there?
So my favorite boat brand in Japan is called Souther boats.
Okay.
They make those small
Yeah.
tricked out fiberglass bass boats that are super sick. Like I think their biggest one is 16 feet, and they
Wow.
make
Yeah.
ones that are like 14 feet, like super, super dope boats. That is I want to say that's the only actual boat manufacturer that shows up to a lot of these shows. Um, and then you have like marinas. So SDG Marine is probably the most popular marina. It's based on Biwa or whatever, and they'll bring some showboats to
Yeah.
come in, but actual like Skeeters obviously not there, or Rangers not really
Ass
there.
cat,
Like
whatever.
Bascat, like that stuff's not there. Souther is, I want to say, really the only actual Japanese made
Wow.
bass boat brand there.
Yeah.
Everything else is, from America. Like you see Rangers out there, you see Skeeters, Bass Cats, stuff like that. And so Souther is like really the only Japanese bass boat brand that is at least of any size,
Yeah.
I should say, of any size. And so everything else is imported.
Mm.
So that's why I think that's the only brand that you really see show up. Now you'll see like Mercury was there at
Mm.
Keepcast.
Hmm.
Mercury had a booth or whatever, but it's not as popular.
Right.
It's not as popular.
Mm.
They're not really there to like sell you a boat or a motor.
Yeah.
They're just
Yeah.
there to show face, I suppose.
Mm.
And so they're there to kind of just show up and just be like, hey, like Southern Boats is here. And now obviously if they're able to sell one boat, then that's huge, right?
Mm.
So it's not as boats are not as popular
Mm.
over there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things to it. Like if you own a boat, you probably only use it on maybe 3 to 5 lakes in the entire country. All the other lakes in Japan, you're not allowed to put a boat on.
Mm.
It's rental boat only.
Mm.
So rental boat culture over there is it's honestly incredible, truly. So you can go to a place that's way down here, or you can go to a place up here,
Hmm.
and it could be a really cool lake that you can't put on your regular boat. So you have to rent a boat. But most guys that, average day guys that shore fish or whatever, work a 9 to 5 job,
Yeah.
they can't even afford a boat. They don't have a place to
Hmm.
put a boat, anyways. And so this allows guys to be able to get out on a rental boat on these lakes to
Yeah.
fish them. And what's cool is these rental boats, it could be a lake way down here and a lake up here,
Hmm.
but the way that the bass fishing culture has become, it's all connected. So the rental boat down here can fit. So the Japanese guys, they will make their own like platforms to put on these rental boats to have a trolling motor on
Yeah.
there, their graphs on there. Like it's super decked out. And so it's like fitted perfectly for the front of these rental boats. Now, there's a rental boat on like let's say Lake Biwa,
Hmm.
right? And they have their form fitted platform to put on that rental boat.
Yeah.
Well, that same platform will fit on this rental boat at this different lake,
Mm.
or this one, or this one. So there is no like, I can only use my platform for
Yeah.
this one rental boat spot. All of the rental boats are the exact
Mm.
same on all of the lakes. And I thought that was fucking sick.
Yeah.
I was like, so you can have this one platform and you can fish this lake, this lake, this lake, this lake, these lakes, like, and that's what guys will do is they'll put these platforms in their truck or in the van or wherever, and then they're able to go fish these different lakes with that platform,
Yeah.
and so they can get out on the water and they're not forced to just shore fish.
Yeah.
So the rental boat culture is truly amazing out there, and I wish we had that out here. But out here in the US, you can put your boat on pretty much any lake.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's very rare to find a lake that you can't put your
Mhm.
own boat on,
Yeah.
right? And so here it's not necessary. Though there is a lot of shore guys, the rental boat scene here is not really a thing. The only place that has rental boats is really California,
Yeah.
because California, a lot of those lakes out there, you're not allowed to put your own boat on.
Hmm.
So you have to rent out those boats. And a lot of times those boats are terrible,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
awful boats. Like at least in Japan, you can bring your own trolling motor,
Hmm.
right? So you can have an Ultrex on this platform. You can have a platform that has a spot for a live scope. Like it's perfect, right? Where out here we just don't have that, and it's not necessary because again, most lakes you can put your own boat on unless you're in Southern California.
Yeah.
Um, and then everywhere else in the country, you can put your own boat on. Guys are starting to get kayaks like crazy.
Hmm.
Sup fishing is becoming popular just because of Marshall and
Yeah.
Knowles. Then you have obviously guys that have bass boats,
Hmm.
right? And so most people here have a house of some sort or somewhere to keep a boat.
Yep.
So that's how, that's how that is. But in Japan, a lot of guys might not have a house, or they live in the city where it doesn't make sense to have a boat. And so it's it's different. Um, and there's good aspects and bad aspects on both sides,
Hmm.
but that's basically how it is in Japan.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
So more curated to the fishing side of things. So here, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
JDM stuff is super sought after. You
Yep.
see when the
Yep.
dice came out, guys are like, "Oh my gosh, our fish have never seen anything like
Oh
that."
yeah.
They're gonna be jumping in the boat
Yep.
when they see that bait. Over there, like when you go over there with the Tyrant or maybe the Dropout
Mm-hmm.
or insert American bait here, do you
Right.
feel
Yeah.
like you have a one up on, well, particularly those Biwa fish that get pressured all the time? Like, do you feel confident that you're showing those fish something different that they're not maybe used to, like a JDM style bait over there, like a common bait in Japan?
So, like you said, here in America, we are fiending for the
Yeah.
Japanese JDM stuff, right? And it's flipped in Japan.
Yeah.
The Japanese guys, they want American stuff.
Hmm.
And American stuff could be anything, honestly. It doesn't have to be like American swim baits.
Yeah.
It could be just like missile baits,
Hmm.
reaction innovations.
Yeah.
Zoom, like Sixth Sense,
Hmm.
like just stuff that you and I can just go down to Bass Pro Shops
Yeah.
and just grab off the shelf.
Right.
They don't have that over there like that. And so the way that we think like, oh, this JDM lure is going to change our fishing
Yeah.
forever, it's different.
Hmm.
They think the same thing where it's like everybody's throwing what we consider this amazing JDM stuff, but they're like, well, if I throw this Zoom, chigger craw or whatever,
Hmm.
like it's something different that the fish
Yeah.
don't see very often because
Hmm.
all they see is the same JDM. Like there's a lot of that. Obviously, the biggest thing is the American swim bait stuff.
Hmm.
So, you know, the working class zero soft baits is obviously a big one. The Hinkle stuff is pretty big as well. Um, there's like some like magnums.
Yeah.
Magnums are big. Like there's a few American baits where the Japanese guys really, really want and they just can't get them. And
Hmm.
it's like when you think about it, like when Hinkle, like a Japanese guy, probably can't get a Hinkle bait.
Right. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the idea of like, I live in Japan, I have to email this guy,
Yeah. In English.
like in English, and he's gonna send me a bait, and I don't know when it's gonna come. Like, I can't just buy like stuff like that. It's just almost impossible for a Japanese guy to get that, and it's the same for me. Like, if I wanted to buy a Kasano
Hmm.
or a lawless lure, like the hoops that I would have to jump
Yeah.
through to get one, I'm good, brother.
Hmm.
I probably cannot get it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when it comes down to like the working class zero stuff and the Hinkle stuff, whatever, I think there's certain aspects of it where, yes, me throwing a soft bait on Biwa where nobody really throws it, I do think it has power. Where the Japanese guys, a lot of it is just hard bait. Like the Clash
Yeah.
9 is like the number one bait, the Tiny Clash is number two. Then you got guys throwing like the Depths 250, the Gancraft stuff, and some other hard baits. When it comes down to soft baits, though, those just Japan fish in
Yeah.
general, they just don't see them. They don't
Hmm.
see them. And so you're showing fish something different that they don't see, and it's just so much more natural. And I had success this last trip with the Tyrant. Even the trip before, I had some success with the Tyrant as well. My buddy Matt Purcell, he caught an 11 on a soft bait out there. He caught a couple other fish on the soft bait too. So throwing these baits and being able to present them in a different way and different speed and all that will get bites. And for many, many years, the Japanese guys just said, it doesn't work. They don't eat it right. And so, it, I think what happens is they might get like an 8-inch HUD or a 10
Yeah.
inch HUD, or maybe they get a Citizen or a Battle Shad, or if they get lucky, a Tyrant, and they might fish the bait. And there's just times of the year that fish do not eat a soft bait very well.
Hmm.
I've seen it, I've had it happen where you're fishing a soft bait and it goes, you just didn't get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And then you get the bait back and it's like the back half of the bait's all
Yep.
torn up. And you're like, it's just, they're not eating it correctly right now. So I think what would happen is the Japanese guys would have that happen time and time again to
Mm.
where they're just like, hey, it's hard enough to get one bite.
Not worth
So
it. Yeah.
why am I throwing this stupid soft bait when I can throw a bait that has two giant treble hooks on it that
Yeah.
I can guarantee catching that fish?
Hmm.
So they gave up on the soft bait,
Mm.
where it's like, dude, if you throw it at the right time and you fish it correctly, the fish will just chomp it.
Yeah.
They're just going to smoke the thing.
Hmm.
And I think that was kind of the problem, is that when they would try it, they would get that one bite or two bite, and the fish just wouldn't get it for whatever reason. Maybe it's timing, whether they're not doing the right speed or cadence.
Yeah.
And then they're just like, it's pointless. Why am I throwing this thing if I can't even hook a fish? Let me just pick up my Clash 9
Yep.
that has two treble hooks. And if I get that same bite, I'm guaranteed to at least hook the stupid
Hmm.
thing.
Hmm.
And so that's kind of where that mentality kind of has come from. And so my idea was like, dude, this is perfect.
Mm.
This is the land of giant bass. Like the amount of giant bass in Biwa is unbelievable.
Yeah.
and they haven't seen a soft bait, which in my thinking, in my fishing, I truly believe the soft bait is the best way to catch giant bass.
1000%. Yeah.
Um, and so, you go there and they're like, wow, you're telling me these fish never see a soft bait ever, and I have a shot of catching the world record on this lake?
Mm-hmm.
It's a no-brainer to keep throwing that soft bait and
Yeah.
understanding, like, okay, how are the Biwa fish wanting it? Where do they want it? At what speed do they want it where they bite it correctly? And so it's honestly a trip. The two tyrant tin fish that I caught that last trip, both of them, they didn't eat it like how I would say my fish here in Arizona ate it,
Mm-hmm.
where my fish here, I can feel it. It's it's weird to say it, but I can feel how they eat it here,
Mm-hmm.
where they come up from behind and the whole bait gone.
Mm-hmm.
They just suck it in and it's gone. The Biwa fish, however, when they bit it, you could feel that they bit it hard, like it's a hard thump, but it didn't feel like they sucked it
The whole thing.
down.
Yeah.
And so when I got those fish in, you can tell by the way that they're hooked. They're like, oh, they're coming up and they're just headshotting it,
Mm.
which is how you want them to eat it.
Yeah. Yeah.
They, which makes sense when a fish comes up to a big piece of prey, they want to headshot it so it goes down a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
And so those fish were headshotting it, and I was able to hook them even though I was fishing the beast hook. And I'm like, okay, if you just fish like a Butch Brown top hook rig, you'd probably hook so many fish.
Mm.
And so I think a lot of the Japanese guys is they try and rig their baits to have like hooks on the side,
Yeah. Yeah.
like stinger hooks basically on the tail. And I'm like, bro, stop that. Like, just put one small hook up on the front of the head and you'll land so many fish that way. Even with the beast hook, I was able to still hook those fish and get them, whether it was on land or on the boat. And so it seemed like the way that those fish in Biwa were eating, yeah, that's the Japanese way right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Put that stuff on the side, dude.
Yeah.
And
And then two
it's
treble hooks
ridiculous.
too.
Right. And it always has to be treble hooks or
Yeah.
something like that. And so, the idea is like just put one small hook up on the head. And, it trips out American bros too, where guys will get like an 8-inch Huddleston and they're like, dude, I've got to rig a stinger on this
Yep.
thing. And it's like, bro, it's an 8-inch little Huddleston.
Yeah.
If a fish really wants it, it'll just eat the whole thing,
Mm-hmm.
no problem.
Mm-hmm.
And if you miss a couple bites, that's just the name of the game.
Yeah.
There's times, dude, when I'm fishing a glide bait and I'll watch like an 8-pounder smoke it and I don't hook it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got two treble hooks.
Yeah.
And so that's just the name of the game. You're going to miss fish. You can't just write it off though every time it happens. And so you just have to trust in the process. And once you get an understanding of what the fish, how they like to eat a certain lure, then you adjust from there and you go from there. So if you put just little treble hook on the front, Butch Brown rig, whether it's a Huddleston, a Tyrant, a Magnum, or whatever other lure, and you just fish it at the correct speed, those fish are going to headshot it every single time. So it's like a trial by fire, right? When I go out there and I'm trying to catch fish on a Tyrant, then it starts to kind of maybe make the Japanese guys think like, okay, well, maybe it could work. And then my buddy Matt catching a few fish, he caught an 11 with Tomoya Shirakawa, the owner of DRT.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, if Tomoya posts this fish,
Yeah.
an 11-pounder caught on a soft bait, which Japanese guys look at Tomoya as like a god.
Yeah. Yep.
If he starts to believe in the soft baits, then maybe some of the other
down.
Japanese guys will start to believe in it as well. And then, I have a decent Japanese following. And so when I go there and I throw that Tyrant, maybe it starts to make them think like, okay, maybe this soft bait thing could be cool. And again, the Japanese guys, they like American swim baits. They like the Magnum. They like the Tyrant. They like the Hinkle stuff. And so, but, they've been told their whole lives or like their fishing lives are like, they don't eat soft baits that good here in Japan. They just don't eat them.
Yeah.
And so when the American guys go over there and they start kind of having success on their home bodies of water, it starts to at least turn the wheels in their head. And
Mhm.
it goes back to what I was saying before. When you see when the Japanese guys that fish a certain body of water, when they see like these big name Japanese fishermen show up on the same bodies of water and catch fish where they thought maybe it was impossible to do
Yeah.
it, and they do it, then in that Japanese dude's mind, it's like, oh shit, like I watched him do it and he did it and I fished there almost every week.
Yeah.
So then it gets that guy motivated, inspired to go out and catch those fish.
Mhm.
And it's the same thing here in America. Like with you, Adrian, you think of Michigan, it's not a big swim bait place. There's
Yeah.
no way that they'd eat that shit in Michigan.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you're posting fish caught on swim baits, like full on
Yeah.
swim baits, and guys in Michigan might be like, "Holy shit!" All I needed to do was see a guy locally do it to at least get the wheels turning. Of like,
Yeah.
maybe it is actually possible. It's not just a California thing or a Texas thing. This stuff can work anywhere.
Yeah.
And so you always just have to show people to get them on board. Yeah, you can. I can catch fish here in Arizona all I want on a soft bait, but it doesn't mean a guy in Michigan or in Japan is going to be like, oh, that'll definitely work here.
Yeah. It's not going
It's
to
not
resonate.
until
Yeah.
it's not just going to hit them where it counts, right?
Yeah.
You've got to actually go to those locations and kind of prove like, hey, this stuff can work anywhere and everywhere. You just have to adjust.
Mhm.
Not every fish is the same, but it's still a bass at the end of the day.
Yeah.
When I go from here in Arizona and I go 6,000 miles across the Pacific Ocean and I go to Japan and I go fish Lake Biwa and I catch a bass, every time I do, I always think like, it's a bass, Jeff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, sure, it's a Japanese bass and it speaks Japanese and it tells me konnichiwa when I catch it. It's at the end of the day, it's still a bass and they still do bass things.
Mhm.
When I present a lure correctly to them, they're gonna bite it. Now, there might be some weird cadences. Like I said, those fish really like headshotting there, while my fish will just eat the whole thing.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I can still get them to bite a lure because it's a bass at the end of the day.
Mhm.
And I'm trying to convey this more and more with the Japanese guys because I'm like, dude, you guys want to catch these giant bass. And again, they've had amazing success catching giant bass.
Mhm.
But it's hard for them to break into the upper echelon of catching 13, 14, 15, 16 plus maybe world record class fish,
Mhm.
where a lot of guys, they're catching these giant bass on, clash nines or tiny clashes or any of those baits. And they're catching, that 9 to like 12, 13 pound fish. But it's not as consistent as I think it could be if they fished a soft bait more regularly. So we'll see how it goes. I really plan on moving there and spending a lot of time just fishing it because in my head, I still think my best shot of catching the world record bass or even just high teen class fish on Biwa is utilizing a soft bait. Obviously, I'm sure in my time of fishing, I'll catch, 10, 11, 12 pounders on a clash 9 or whatever hard bait. But I think consistently to catch that upper echelon fish, you have to throw something that those fish haven't seen probably in their entire lives, which is a soft bait.
Yeah.
So that's the idea. That's the plan. I hope Marshall isn't listening to this. I want Marshall to keep throwing throwback baits. I don't want him to steal my bite at all. So,
Two questions for you. We'll ask the first
okay.
one. So speaking of Marshall's fishing that video yesterday. Well, it'll be a while. You guys are listening to this, but he caught. Well, I don't want to like out him, but he's caught a couple of good fish on the quick chop retro. So the bigger 10, 11 inch quick chopping bait. Is that a thing over there? Like, are they making glide baits? Like, I guess like the Tiny Clash or the K9 can kind of do it with the transfer tail, but is there a market for like super fast fishing glide baits out there? Or is that like something that those fish aren't seeing? So Marshall is having pretty good success with that.
So right now, what Marshall is doing is Marshall is capitalizing on the fishing just being unbelievably good.
Yeah.
Like what's happening right now is those fish on Biwa, they're in pre-spawn.
Mhm.
And as the water gets warmer, a lot of those giant fish are moving offshore and they're starting to move shallow. And basically, Marshall is just there at literally the perfect time
Mhm.
to throw anything that he wants to catch fish. I mean, he's caught him now on a spinnerbait. He's caught him on the Bama Shoal. He's caught him on the Metro, the Retro. Bro, he's
The
caught him on the
bellows gill
stupid bellows
yesterday.
gill.
Like, yeah.
Like, come on. Like, they're just absolutely chewing right now.
Yeah.
And the fish, it's pre-spawn. This is the time of year that the fish just go banana.
Mhm.
If something is in the vicinity that looks edible, they're going to smoke at full speed. And I'm sure he's shown you some of his stuff where he'll make a cast, it hits the water, two glides, boom,
Mhm.
fish. And you're like, okay, it's just he's hitting the right
Yeah.
spots at the right time and he's capitalizing on it. Now, when you're talking about high speed stuff, during the summer is when that stuff really comes into play,
Mhm.
where these guys are fishing, like a canine transfer trail, like you said, or they're fishing maybe some type of segmented lure,
Yeah.
right? Like a ballum maybe.
Yep.
And they're burning them because during the summer there's a bait fish called a hasu.
Yes.
Hasu is like a bait fish, maybe gets about like that big. And during the summer, those hasu, you'll see them and they're just jumping
Just
full
ripping
speed,
around.
like a trout being chased out of the water.
Yeah.
And that's when you're just like,
Mhm.
but they don't make choppy glides like us American bros have just
Mm.
absolutely been fiending over. I mean, every single day I could probably open up Instagram
Yep.
right now and find a new brand that just made this. Whoa, I just made a choppy shad glide
Yeah.
that's 7 inches with a brush tail. Something new to the market that we need.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we get it. We have enough on the market. Can we stop making choppy glides?
Yeah.
Like, they don't have that really in Japan. Obviously, the Clash 9 can do it, and some of the other glide baits that they have out there can kind of chop, but it's not the same chop like what we have here. Like, the chop is a very short
Yeah.
side to side, where the Clash 9 is very wide, or
Mhm.
at least it can go pretty wide. And that's how a lot of those baits are over there. The choppy glide just isn't a thing over there. It could be, quite possibly, it could be a thing out there. Um, I personally haven't tried it yet, so it could be worth taking. I don't know. I mean, there's so many choppy
Yeah.
glides on the
Yeah.
market now. I could probably
Insert
take really
insert
any of them
brand
over there.
here. Yeah.
Yeah, insert brand right here, and I could take it out there and see if it works good, if
Mhm.
it's better than a Clash 9, maybe worse, maybe the fish don't like it. I'm sure at the end of the day, it's a bass. And if you present the lure correctly to a bass when it's ready to feed,
Yeah.
it'll most likely bite it. Do I think there's some advantages to fishing certain lures that have certain cadences? Quite possibly. But those windows are much smaller than just fish setup. I made the right cast, caught the fish.
Mhm.
So it's very interesting. I would have to wonder if that's something that can take off in the
Yeah.
future, is like a choppy glide. But
Mhm.
again, in Japan they don't have shad, which
Yeah.
I don't think it really matters. But in Japan, there's no shad. There's no gizzard shad. There's no threadfin. All they have is their just native fish, and a lot of like skinny,
Mm.
skinny profile. There's nothing really tall. There's a carp species called tuna that are a little bit taller
Mhm.
profile. So, but those are slow moving carp. They're just
Yeah.
carp. They're nothing like gizzard shad. And so it could work, especially during like summer when the water's warm and the fish are pretty juiced, like post spawn. I bet you a shad choppy glide could probably kill them out there as well.
Hmm. Interesting. Then the other question I had for you, nighttime fishing is pretty big here in the US, especially like New
Mm-hmm.
England area, all down the south and stuff. And not
Yep.
to out
Yep.
Marshall if he hasn't posted anything, but Marshall's caught quite a few good ones at night recently.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
Yep.
something that is common, like maybe not knowledge, but common practice out there? Or is it like sun goes down, everybody goes home to be with their family, nobody's out fishing Biwa, shore banging it?
So this is going to be a little bit long,
Okay.
but night fishing in Japan, besides I want to say two lakes, it is illegal to night fish
Mm.
in Japan. Now, the reason why it's legal on Biwa and one other lake called Kasumigara, is because those are the two largest lakes in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And they're so large that the government has classified them as like seas. Like they're so big that they're
Yeah.
classified as like a sea.
Yeah.
Like it's a big enough body of water. It's so big that it's a sea. And you are allowed to fish at night
Mm.
in the ocean
Yep.
or on a sea. And so everywhere else, not allowed to night fish at all. Like what happens if you get caught night fishing is they take all of your gear, and I
Wow.
think you have to go to jail for like 2 weeks,
Whoa.
maybe 3 weeks. So imagine you're night fishing at a spot and you've got a couple Artex rods with Shimano and terraces and varial handles, like,
Mm-hmm.
and you've got a backpack full of awesome baits. Gone. See you later. Japanese government is taking that and they're probably going to sell it on Bai. So the thing with Biwa night fishing is it is it's kind of popular, but there's a stigma around it. And I just had this conversation the other night with my friend Hideki Maeda, and he was basically saying night fishing from shore, it's okay. Like it's okay. Like people do it, and you see a good amount of guys do it because some people they work,
Yeah.
from the morning until late, and the only time they can fish is at night. It's like right after work, and so
Yeah.
they might fish from 7 to 9 or 7 to 10 and then call it a good day and then go to work the next day. However, boat fishing at night is not a thing.
Mm.
It is completely legal to do.
Mm.
However, it's taboo to do. So, Marshall fishes with the Gosan guy.
Yeah.
Gosan is one of maybe 3 night guides on the entire lake.
That's insane.
And there's a stigma around night fishing on a boat on Biwa, where a lot of guys it's kind of frowned upon to actually do it. Even though it's completely legal to do, anybody can do it, but it's still very, very taboo to do. And when I was talking to Mada's son about this, he honestly couldn't really explain it very well to me.
Yeah.
Why it's taboo.
Just is.
He just said it kind of just is, and there's no real good explanation to why it is. And I was like, this isn't making any sense. Like you have this big, beautiful lake, and on some of those pristine nights where it's like glass calm, I'm like, I bet you can catch so many giants a night, but you can't do it. And one thing that shocked me is a lot of guys will keep their boats, on a marina.
Yep.
Right. They might have an apartment or their house just doesn't have a garage for a boat. So they'll leave it in a marina. Apparently is you can, if you went night fishing and you had a marina and the marina found out, you would be banned from using that marina. And if that marina banned you, all the other marinas in around Biwa would ban you from using their marina. It's just, it's that taboo. You would think it's illegal to do, but it's not. It's just the Japanese feel so strongly about it to where you would think it's illegal for whatever reason. I'm not quite sure why. Maybe one day when I become extremely fluent in Japanese, I can yank it out of somebody. But to me, to you, to everybody listening, it's probably an absolute trip. It's like, if it's not illegal, just do it. But you don't want to be the outcast. Where Go-san is considered an outcast. And so it's this very weird thing. And I found it strange, and maybe one day I can come back on here and give you a better answer. But for now, I'm stumped. I don't know. Night fishing from shore is okay because I guess you're shore fishing. But even then, some people will write off night fishing. Like if I caught a 14 pounder from night,
Hmm.
Some guys would be like, wow, amazing fish. But some guys would be like, it doesn't
Doesn't
count
count.
because it's at
Yeah.
night.
Yeah.
Again, completely legal to do,
Mhm.
but there's still some type of, I don't know, some type of thing that night fishing is just not allowed. I, I don't know. I like night fishing. Like you said, Marshall has caught quite a few now at night. I have night fished probably 20 times and I've never caught a single fish. I maybe had a couple bites.
Yeah.
I'm not as good of a fisherman as Marshall. Marshall is the greatest fucking Biwa foreign fisherman to ever touch that lake. Like he's had some amazing accomplishments that I might never see in my entire life
Mm.
because Biwa absolutely hates me. But the lake it fishes really, really good at night. Like it bites pretty good at night. There's less people. I think the fish let down their guards, and it's the
Yeah.
same thing out here. Like a majority of guys that fish, anywhere in the US, it's mostly just daytime. Like sun up, sun down. When the sun goes down, we go home.
Yeah.
But at night, it gives you such an advantage because the fish kind of drop their guards. There's less people out there. They can't see very well. They just kind of see movement, so they can't really see hooks or imperfections in lures a lot at night. So it's like you would think like, oh, dude, night fishing has to be the deal. And even for me, I don't night fish a whole lot out here. I've had very little success doing it, and it seems like if you want to be good at night fishing, you just have to do it like we do it during the day, where
Yeah.
you have to only fish at night for like almost years to become so dialed with it because it is a light switch. It goes from
Literally.
day to night. It's a light
Yeah.
switch to where it's like the fish might do completely different things when that sun goes away and it's nighttime and it's pitch black. They might position differently. They might like when the moon is out or when the moon is gone, or it should be windy, it should be flat, calm. They move here instead of here because you don't need shade anymore because it's all shade.
Hmm.
And so I have had very little success with night fishing here in my local lakes, but I haven't put in that time to be good at it. So it could be a thing of like, hey, I think the biggest fish possible to catch could come from night. Like
Mm.
I tell Phoenix all the time, I'm like, hey, I think the state record, if you're gonna catch it in 2025, it probably comes at night. Just because the daytime it's just too much pressure and the fish
Yeah.
know. But at nighttime, I think the fish drop their guard to where you have an actual shot of catching that giant bass.
Mm.
And I think it's kind of the same on Biwa as well.
Mm. Is there taboo is probably not the right word. Is there like a reason why, from what I've seen, all the Biwa videos I see, a lot of people are, fishing way out deep, whether it's like those big rigs that are way out in the middle or, just wherever. And then you have Sammy who's fishing shallow, and that's kind of his like whole brand, like the frog guy, they're like the frogman thing. Is there a reason why, like, it seems like based off my limited like knowledge and stuff, that he is like one of the guys who's fishing on a boat and doing like the complete opposite of everybody else?
I think Sammy, there's different types of fishermen,
Mhm.
right, Adrian? There's fishermen that love offshore fishing.
Yeah.
They love it. They love it. They love it. They love it. They have success doing it and they love doing it. Then you also have guys that just will just run bank and beat the bank and have success as well.
Hmm.
A lot of times those guys aren't mixing together,
Yeah.
right? An offshore guy, when he goes shallow, it's just too shallow for him. Like he likes throwing on deep rock piles with something or deep grass or something
Yeah.
like that. Where a shallow guy, he's just going to run bank. And if you run enough bank, you will eventually run into fish.
Hmm.
So a shallow guy, he's going to run miles and miles and miles of bank, right? To maybe catch one bass. Where an offshore guy, he might go to 4 rock piles and that's it.
Hmm.
Like four deep rock piles where it's like, okay, there's going to be fish on these 4 rock piles.
Yeah.
Eventually they're going to bite. And then he goes around, jumps around, and catches fish there.
Mm.
While the shore guy is just going to cover as much ground as he possibly can to find those fish that are shallow.
Mm-hmm.
And what it really comes down to is preference
Mm-hmm.
and confidence. Sammy is a frog guy. He
Yeah.
loves throwing a frog more than any other lure. Even though, yeah, he's caught some good fish on like throwing swim baits and all this stuff. He's just not a guy that likes fishing deep water.
Mm.
And most people, I would say, on Biwa are guys that will fish offshore. They're going to be fishing because, for the most part, there's a lot. I think there's a lot more fish to be caught offshore
Yeah.
than shallow. Obviously, there's times when those fish from offshore, like pre-spawn, spawn, they move in offshore, and the shore guys have a great shot of catching those giant fish.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Marshall is going on right now. Where before Marshall was catching them and struggling, the guys offshore were absolutely smoking them because it was just before those fish wanted to think about rolling shallow. But now that the water warmed up and they had warm days and spring is coming, those fish that they were catching offshore are now moving shallow.
Yeah.
And that's why Marshall is having the success that he's having, because he's there at the right time. Mm-hmm. He hit that first wave, second wave of fish that are rolling shallow. So when you have the ability to just kind of wait it out and catch that class of fish shallow, I mean, it's more fun to fish like that, right? You're able to fish because you're fishing around trees, you're fishing around docks. Like, it's very fun. It's shallow water where, if you're offshore, you got to make these bomb casts and you've got to just slow work something and work it. And it's fun, obviously, because you're catching big fish that way. But there is something to the shallow game. And Sammy, he loves throwing a frog. He likes flipping. If he does throw a tiny clash, he likes just dead walking around tulies or a dock or a sunken boat. And it's a little more visual too. Like, the visual aspect of it really can get people so hooked on something. Like, there's certain individuals that really love throwing a frog and will only throw a frog because who doesn't love a frog blow? Right? But there's guys that are like, I'll go throw a frog shallow, but I know I could probably catch more fish if I drag a worm off of this point. Mm-hmm. Right? And this just comes down to preference. Sammy prefers to fish shallow water and only fishes shallow water, and he's really the only guy to fish like that. Then everybody else kind of fishes offshore. I like to fish both, right? I like to have both options. Obviously, I like shore fishing on Lake Biwa, so I'm forced to fish like shore. I'm forced to fish miles and miles and miles of shoreline to find one bass on a swim bait. Well, I know, today was a beautiful day, perfect amount of wind. If there was a guy offshore today, he probably caught 10 bass on a Clash 9, just dead walking it.
Right.
Where if you hit it just right, like what Marshall's doing, you have the opportunity to catch one fish, two fish, three fish a day.
Yeah.
And so, the bite's going to be good until post spawn. And then, you'll still have some fish that are just shallow fish. They only want to be shallow and they like being shallow. But a lot of those fish will eventually just roll back and go back to offshore. And so when you hit it correctly, like that mid to late March, it's just done because all the fish are going shallow to spawn. And so you have waves of these fish to go spawn.
Yeah.
And Marshall is there and he's having, basically every night I get a new photo of him with a fucking giant.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this guy's so annoying. Stop sending me this stuff.
8-pounder, and then 20 minutes later, it's a 9.5-pounder off the same brick wall.
Right. And you're just sitting there like, I don't want to see this anymore. I'm sick and tired of it, Marshall. Leave me alone. Let me sleep, bro.
That actually leads us perfectly into this question. So you go back and forth to Japan a decent amount throughout the year. And when I get up for work, sometimes you'll be on Instagram, sometimes you won't be. Has that hindered your sleep schedule? Like, being here, like, are you stuck? Not necessarily stuck, but are you kind of used to the Japan time? Like, being, for you, what is it, 17 hours ahead from Arizona to Japan?
16.
16?
16 behind.
Oh, 16 behind. Yep. Okay, so is that different for you? Like, does it take a little while for you to kind of switch back and forth, like, your sleeping patterns? Or are you just kind of stuck on one sleeping pattern from here on out?
So, when I got back from Japan, I was there for 12 days. The first few days, it's rough. Like it's rough, man. But once you get in the rhythm of things, it's fine. It's good. And then when you come back, my feelings when I got back was like, I don't want to fish here locally.
Yeah.
I just came from a place where they were eating the 10-inch tyrant full speed and
Yeah.
pre-spawn to when I came back to Arizona, the fish were spawning.
Hmm.
And I'm like, well, now what do I do?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I was having so much fun on Biwa to when I came back here, I'm like, I don't even really want to fish, dude.
Mm.
And I've kind of forced myself to fish because when I force myself to fish, I'm able to kind of reacclimate.
Mm.
But if I don't go fishing, it's basically like, all right, I'm gonna be going to bed at 4 a.m.
Yep.
I'm gonna wake up at 2 p.m.
Yeah.
and just repeat the cycles.
Yeah.
So that's what happened today. Like I went to bed at I think 4:30 a.m. And I woke up today at 1 o'clock. So that's kind of like the Japan cycle. And when I look at like on my phone the Japan times,
Hmm.
it's very similar to what my sleep schedule was like when I was
Yeah.
in Japan, where it's like, all right, I'll probably go to bed in Japan at like 9 p.m. or something like that, and I wake up at 6 a.m. to go fishing.
Hmm.
And I look at when I go to bed and when I wake up, I'm like, yeah, pretty similar times.
Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely has an effect on me. I can get over it if I just go fishing and just try and like really hone in. Like, all right, let me just get back to my sleep schedule.
Hmm.
It's definitely not as bad now, but yeah, it's definitely that first like week or two. It's pretty rough coming back.
Yeah, I think Marshall is gonna have an absolute brutal time for being over there for
Oh God,
well, yeah, like 75 days, something like that. Like
yeah,
I think
gnarly,
Marshall's
dude.
already not a morning guy. I'm sure you know that as well as many people
Yep,
listening to this.
yep,
But now putting that on top of this, like his biological clock being, 16, 17 hours behind for realistically almost 3 months, like that dude's gonna be cooked when he gets
yeah.
back.
Oh, he's gonna be so done for when he
Yeah.
comes back, dude.
Yeah, it'll
So
be it'll be interesting to see what he does with that. Yeah,
well, actually, if he ever comes back, he might get married out there.
yeah, yeah. Who knows? Who knows? There was one more small thing I was gonna ask you, and I can't. Oh, I guess what's like when you come back home? What's the one thing you look forward to going back to Japan, like food wise? Like, what's the one thing over here that we just obviously can't even touch, like with what they have in Japan? Like first night in Japan, you're looking
Well,
for this thing for dinner because it's been a little while since you've had it.
okay, it goes both ways.
Mm,
So, like right now, I could go for some pork cutlet over rice with
mm,
curd.
hmm.
Like, amazing. That stuff is amazing. We just don't really have that here. That stuff I could eat that almost every single day out there.
Yeah,
I love that stuff so much. But when you're over in Japan and you're just forced to eat Japanese food,
hmm.
after a while you're like, wow, they have a lot of things missing. And so, when I came back from Japan, I was like, please just give me a really good burger from
Yeah,
somewhere.
yeah,
I am dying for a good burger or some good pizza.
mm,
Like just, stuff that's probably going to kill me,
yeah,
just knocking my life
yeah.
away. Because the stuff that we put in our food, probably cancerous, killer, but God
But
damn,
damn,
does
is
it
it good?
taste so good. God, it's so good, dude. Like I came back, I think me and Phoenix, I think we went to maybe it was like a hot chicken place or In and Out. Went
Yeah, I
to
was
one
about
of
to say.
those and I was like, this is what I was missing,
Yeah,
dude. I need this. I need Japan to get this cancerous food over
yeah.
there because the food in Japan, it is amazing. It's
Hmm.
delicious. But after a while, you're like, man, it doesn't have that cancerous stuff that I'm looking
Yeah, yeah.
for. Where it's like, oh, this
That
is
I'm
so good.
feeding
And I'm
for.
gonna probably die from eating this too much, but it tastes so good.
Yeah.
Like they don't do sweets very well over there.
Hmm.
Like trying to find a good cookie over there is almost impossible.
Mm.
Yeah, it's so bad, dude. Like they just don't put any sugar in it or enough sugar in it.
Yeah.
And again, it probably goes back to just the cancerous shit that we have here,
Hmm.
they don't have in Japan. So they don't have the same flavoring. And so overall, it's definitely much better to eat over there.
Yeah.
But every time I go, I'm like, man, I wish I could just get a fat, juicy burger right now.
Right. Yeah.
Ugh, just give it to me.
And then, okay, this is the last question I have. Since you've been over there a handful of times now, do you still geek out when you go to like Tackleberry or some of these other shops, like some of the resale shops, and see like the Depths 145? Like, do you still buy an insane amount, or not? Do you still buy a lot of stuff while you're there, or are you kind of like laxed out where you've been over there enough, you've kind of gotten a little bit of everything that you kind of look for when you go to Japan, so it's a little less, hectic on the buying sprees now?
So, I've been to Japan now 9 times in just the past 2 years. Um, and there's definitely been, I don't exactly know how to describe it, but it's, the first couple of times I went, it was so new
Yeah.
and I was so out of my element. And there was a sense of like, holy shit, I can't talk to anybody. I
Hmm.
can't read any signs. I feel like I'm a child again.
Hmm.
And and you know, then it was like, wow, everything's so new and
Yeah.
I can't talk to adults. I can't read signs. I can't
Hmm.
order a cheeseburger from McDonald's.
Yeah.
Like you just feel like you're a kid again. And that has obviously drastically worn off the more that I become, more fluent with Japanese, the more I become comfortable with just going over there. There's never any panic now. There's no stress of like, oh, how do I order a bullet train ticket, or
Hmm.
how do I do this, or how do I do that? I've done it so much now to where it just has become normalized. There's still that like, holy shit, I'm in Japan.
Yeah.
This is amazing. I love it. Like every now and then I catch myself having that, but it definitely isn't what it was that first year that I went there. There's still some things where I might see it and I'm like, I fucking love this place.
Yeah.
Like just dumb stuff where you're like, this is the most Japanese thing I've ever seen, and I love every bit of it. And you go through the rhythm and stuff like that. But going to tackle shops, it was kind of hindered, kind of in the beginning because working at the Hook of Tackle, we
Right. Yeah.
carry all the Japanese brands already.
Hmm.
So when I would go into like a Boon Boon or whatever, and you have like Depths and Raid and all these brands, and you're like, I kind of have already seen this. If I hadn't seen it before, I thought I would think that this is the coolest
Yeah.
place ever. Going into the used tackle stores, there's still that like that that look for treasure
Hmm.
of like, what are we gonna find in this tackle bear, or
Yeah.
what are we gonna find in this gear? Like, and so there's a little bit of like, I've had enough 115s. You know this, Adrian.
Yeah.
I've definitely bought my
I've
fair
got one.
share.
Oh, I've got one right here actually, from Mr. the King. He
Yeah,
sent to me.
look at that thing. So I've bought so many 115s, but there's definitely still some lures that I look for. Where it's like if I can find OG Depths 250s or Roman made stuff, if I could find some DRT stuff, some old lures, some old DVDs, like stuff like that, I'm always like, oh, holy
Yeah.
shit, they have one of these here.
Mhm.
Like me and Marshall, we were freaking out. I think before I came to Japan, or maybe I was in Japan or whatever. But he found a 14-inch prologue worm from Roman Made, and we're
Mhm.
geeking out about that. Where it's like, bro, how did you find one of those worms? He's
Yeah.
like, I
Yeah.
just went in some random thrift store and it had it. I'm like, bro, like, so there's still like that idea. Like you
Yeah.
could go into any one of these tackleberries and be like, oh my God, like I can't believe they have one of these things here. I gotta buy it. And
Right.
so there's still some of that for sure. Because you just never know. When it comes down to like a normal fishing store like a Boon Boon,
Hmm.
you kind of know what to expect.
Right. Yeah.
And so there's no like, whoa, I can't believe this is here. It's like, of course this is here. We're in Japan. This is a good store.
Hmm.
But in a tackleberry, yeah, you just never know what you're gonna find in some of those
Hmm.
stores. And so it's always a treat to go into them. This last trip though to Japan, I didn't even go into a single tackleberry.
Wow.
I didn't go into a single tackleberry this last trip. I think I was just so focused on fishing that I just didn't even bother to stop in one.
Hmm.
So every now and then I like on my own personal trips, I don't go into a lot of tackleberries.
Yeah.
I think my main focus is when I go on my personal trips is like I'm just here to fish.
Hmm.
If I had more time, if I was like on Marshall's program
Yeah. Yeah.
where I'm there for 2.5 months, I have time,
Hmm.
right? Where when I go now, I've got like 10 days, maybe 9 full days on Lake Biwa.
Hmm.
I've got to spend every single day
Yeah.
fishing to figure out what's going on.
Hmm.
When is the fishing going to get better? I've got to fish this side of the lake. I've got to fish that side of the lake. I've got to try this lure out. I've got to try this lure out. Like all of my time is spent focusing on fishing. I can't have a leisurely day
Yeah.
because I'm like, the one day I take a leisurely day
Hmm.
is the day that a fish rolled up onto one of my spots that I
Yeah.
would have fished.
Hmm.
And so when I go back over, I plan on going back over this month on the 20th. I plan on doing a Marshall program where I'm there for 2 months, 3 months, and then when I have that much time,
Mm.
if it's a day where it's like, I could go fishing today, or I could go check out a couple tackleberries, or go to this cool tackle shop in Osaka or Kyoto. Like I can have that leisurely
Yeah.
time to go and do stuff like that.
Hmm.
But my current schedule, it's like every day fish.
Yeah.
Every single day, I must go fishing to utilize my time to try and catch fish. And at the end of the day, the biggest thing for me is to just go fishing. I
Yeah.
obviously love buying tackle and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, going fishing and trying to catch a biwa bass is my biggest goal. And you know, it's the hardest thing to do.
Hmm.
Anybody can just kind of walk into a tackleberry and buy some tackle, but to actually put in the time, shore fishing especially, to try and catch a biwa bass is a whole another ball game. So it takes a lot of time and a lot of
Yeah.
effort to do it.
Yeah. It I mean, essentially Marshall's he's just living his life out there right now. He's not on the
Living the
10-day
dream, baby.
plan where he wants to fish to make it, make it worth the content for the trip out there.
Right.
He can
Exactly.
if it's
Yep.
rainy one day, he's like, "Oh, well, maybe I'll go fish for 2 hours and worst case scenario, I'll just go walk
All right.
around and go to these two tackleberries
All right.
across town
Yeah.
just because I can." And
Simple.
it's
Yep.
I mean, people think about 10 days like somebody thinks about going to work for 10 days, they're like, "Oh my God, that's like way too much time." But then you think about going on a trip to like St. Clair or just going to a lake here stateside even and
Right.
being like,
Yeah.
"Oh man, the 10 days goes by fast." Now count a
It
full
goes
day
by
worth of
so fast.
travel into going to Japan
Yep.
and stuff. Like it really goes to counting hairs and like having to make every single
Yep.
hour, like an itinerary of what we're going to be doing. Which spot on the bank am I going to be fishing at this hour because the next hour I
Right.
need to be over here to
Exactly.
go fish that side or wherever else it may be.
Yep.
It's kind of more of an equation when you're only there for 10 to 12 days like you go when you go.
Right. Yeah. So it's a challenge every time I go, but it's a fun challenge because it's a new body of water and you have the shot of catching a teener from shore
Mhm.
or fishing with Sammy. Like it's that keeps me going and driving to figure out the lake more. And I'm a guy that I like taking the hard route. Adrian, I just love taking the hard route. As hard as I can make it, let me
Yeah.
just do it that way because it tells a much better story that
Mhm.
way. To where if I'm like, yeah, dude, I grinded, I sort of pieced together the puzzles of like one day I found this one area. The next day I went back. It wasn't quite the
Mhm.
right wind. Then maybe I go back there on the third day and everything lines up perfectly and I catch that fish. That tells a much better story than it's like, oh yeah, like, you know, this guy, he gave me a spot and I went and I caught a fish.
Mhm.
Like there's just the grind. I feel like I earn that fish a lot more
Yeah.
than if I was being guided every time I go fishing
Mhm.
or anything like that.
Right.
And so, as much as I love fishing with Sammy, there's just a lot of times where I'm like, like for today, even though if I went fishing with Sammy, I could probably catch 3 bass.
Mhm.
I'm just going to go shore fishing just so I can be like, yes, I did it. This is
Yeah.
the biggest accomplishment of my entire trip.
Mhm.
So, like this last trip, I caught one shore fishing,
Yeah.
caught one with Sammy and Marshall, and then I caught one with Ghost on.
Yep.
That first fish that I caught solo is the fish that I think back to far more than the other ones,
Mhm.
far more than the other ones, just because it was like, feet on the ground, time on the water, figuring it out, and just getting rewarded with a fish like that.
Yeah.
Those are the fish that make me the most happy,
Mhm.
where it's like, yes, I did it myself. Nobody helped me out. I had to grind for it, I had to work for it, and it just tells a much better story overall. And that's kind of just how my brain works. I take the
Yeah.
hardest route to do the most simple thing, which is
Yeah.
just catch a bass.
Right. Right.
Where, I have the luxury of being like, yeah, I can fish Biwa 9 days in a row, right? Where there's a lot of guys that are traveling to Japan that are like, hey Geoff, like I might get one day when my
Mhm.
family goes down to Kyoto to go fishing. What guide should I go with?
Mhm.
Where they might only have one day, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to tell this guy to go shore fishing.
Right.
That's
Right.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
He has one day, and
Mhm.
you know a lot of guys, they're just there to go fishing.
Right.
No expectations of trying to catch a bass, but they still want to catch a bass, right? So I'm like, yeah, the best way, obviously, do not go shore fishing if you've got one day to go to Biwa.
Right.
Don't do it. It's not worth it. Just hire a guide and they'll put you on the fish most likely.
Mhm.
So I'm in that very, very small percent of foreigners that have the luxury and are actually doing the shore fishing grind.
Yeah.
Marshall is the other guy,
Mhm.
and then Phoenix was the other guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Us three are the only foreigners to try and do the hardest route possible, and that is without a car, get on a train, get on a bus, and put your feet on the ground and
Yeah.
try and figure out this gigantic lake with big fish. And we've had success. All three of us have had success shore fishing Lake Biwa in a style and manner that really no other foreign guy is gonna ever do.
Mhm.
And so there's this like this thing where I tell Phoenix, I'm like, you catching that 9 pounder from shore was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, not a lot of bros have ever done that or will ever do that in their entire lives.
Mhm.
I haven't even done it, and I've been to be way more than Phoenix
Yeah.
has.
Yeah.
So I've been just trying to catch up, and I'm just trying to get my own, and I think it'll come. It's just time, a lot of effort, but it's fun. It's because it's different. It gets you out of your element. You're trying to learn a new lake, and when you do start to put the pieces together, it's exciting.
Yeah.
Catching a fish from shore, and
Mhm.
every time I get bit, I'm like, this could be a 12 pounder for all I know.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't have that luxury here in Arizona, so it's very, very fun to fish. It struggles, but it's very fun.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, dude, yeah, it's fun. I've watched every single one of your guys' videos, and there's never one that I've watched and I'll be like, I'm never going over there. I can't believe these guys are doing that. They're crazy. I wouldn't be
Yeah,
doing
that
that.
video was terrible. I,
Yeah,
I don't want
I
to do
could, I'm
that.
watching snow fall out my window and I'm having so much more fun than what they're probably doing right now. And so, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's, and obviously there's some guys who that's just not their thing. They would rather just stay in the US and catch their fish if that's what they're,
Right. Yep.
they're used to. And, we said it last night or yesterday, last night on the podcast, last week's episode, it was just kind of like, different strokes for different folks. Some guys get eaten up with the
Yep.
Japanese bug and they want to go out and do it like to the hardest point, like you were saying. And then some guys are just like, well, I'll just stay in California or, wherever. I'll stay in insert state here and
Yep.
I'll just catch my fish here. And if that's what they want to do, more power to them. They're having a good time doing that. But
Yep.
there's people that, like you said, that want to take that hard route and want to visit the world record lake with just an abundant scene for the bass fishing world that we don't have here. Maybe some
Yep.
guys might view ours as superior, but there's also a lot of us that see their bass fishing scene over there and they're like, wow, their stuff is just so much cooler than what we have going over here. And
Yep.
just people have different opinions on everything, and I think a lot of guys are kind of eaten up by Japan, and I think a lot of them would like to visit there and fish that. So, Geoff, I appreciate you coming on and talking about Japan, dude, because it was an absolute
Yeah,
blast.
dude.
But before we sign off here, we got to do the fantasy draft.
Okay.
So, This is okay. This is the second time we've done it. So last week and this week. So I'm
Let me
gonna go
lock
over the
in.
rules again here real quick. So
Okay.
I will give us a topic, a theme, whatever else it may be. We'll do three
Okay.
picks. I will give you the first two picks since I'm coming out with a topic. I'll pick my first
Okay.
one, and then you pick your third one, and then I'll do my two. And then pretty much
Okay.
we're not going to declare each other winners, even though probably I will end up winning. But the commenters, guys who are listening to this, watching it on YouTube or whatnot, and then
Okay.
I'm also going to be chopping these up and making them into reels too. So guys will comment, "Oh, Jeff's draft class far superior more than yours," but that's probably
Okay.
not going to happen. But
Oh, baby.
anyway, so there's kind of the rules.
Hey, wait. Hold on. How much is on the line? Are we putting like a rack on it or what?
No, probably not a rack. No, no.
We're
What
putting a rack down, baby.
we'll go Devs 115. Devs 115 to the winner.
Deal.
Okay,
Deal.
all right.
I have plenty to.
Perfect. Okay. I'll give you what do you think the topic is going to be? So yesterday, I will say yesterday last week we had a tournament guy on. So I try to kind of
Okay.
theme it towards the guest I have on. So his was based on we need to catch one kicker fish to win the tournament. What are your three baits you're going to do it with? So that was kind of the
Okay.
draft pick we were doing yesterday. If you had to take a guess, what do you
Yep.
think I'm going to spout out to you for our kind of
You're
theme for this draft?
you're probably going to say something about um I would assume it's going to be a fantasy on like starting Japanese beginner words like
No,
water,
actually.
sushi, ocha.
So, this is actually, Jeff, I don't know if you know
Uh-oh.
this, but you are probably one of the most subscribed swim bait YouTubers on the YouTubes. So that is what this is based on.
Oh
Our
God.
draft, theme this week is,
Okay.
a couple blurb words that you would use in a video title to make it go viral.
To make it go viral.
Yeah, so like maybe 3 to 5 words you use as a hook in the title to get people
Okay.
to press that video.
Okay.
I'll give you a second to think about it. I have a couple written down. I'm
Okay.
you're a full-time YouTuber. I am confident that you might
I am.
snipe one or two of these from me. I have three written down
Maybe.
because I'm confident, but I also think you might be able to pull the rug under me and snag one. So when you are ready, you can so you'll give your first draft pick and then give us a slight description on why you picked that, and then go ahead with your second one. I will give my first one with my description, and then you give your third one, and then I will follow up with my second and third pick.
And now, when you say viral, is this viral fishing video
Yeah,
or
okay.
just
So
viral?
I have mine are written down kind of general 3 word viral titles, but it's in the sense of we would plug it into a fishing video.
Okay. And so, do I give you is it just one word that I give
No,
you,
no, no,
or do
no.
I give
So
you
like
like,
it's like 3 to 5 words. All mine that are written down right now are 3 and 4 words.
okay,
So it's just kind of like
okay,
blank 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 giant fish or whatever else it may be.
okay, okay,
Okay. What are you thinking for your first draft for your first pick of the YouTube or the
okay.
YouTube title draft? What is Mr.
Woo,
the King drafting?
son. Okay, okay. Um, the first one would have to be. Oh God, I think the first one would have to be. Oh man, I think the first one for a bass fishing video that to go viral is don't make this mistake.
Mm, okay. Okay. That was not on my list. I wasn't thinking about that, but that is a good idea. Well, okay, just to throw another one little one in there. What's the thumbnail you're doing with that? Like your hand holding a backlash reel with like a giant X through it?
Yeah, something like that, or it's like this, and then it's like, and it could be whatever. Like,
Yeah.
don't make this mistake right here, like something like that,
Yeah.
or just like a
Right. Yeah. With like a fake like emoji, like a crying emoji or something.
Yeah, something like that would probably be the thumbnail. It's just like the wagging finger
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
just like don't do this,
Yeah. Like shame
and then it's
finger.
like yeah, and it's like some swim bait or lure here with an
Yeah. Yeah.
X through it. That's
Okay.
it.
Okay. I think that's pretty good. I did not have that written down, but dude, I will say for a first draft pick, you may have secured the
Son,
draft win right
come
there.
on.
We'll see how these other two
Ugh.
play out. I don't know. That
Okay.
first one is making me feel a little dicey with the three that I have written down.
Yeah, dude,
So
you're screwed.
yeah,
It's done
yeah,
for. You're
I'm
done.
losing, man. This 115 is finding its way back to you at this rate. But if you are ready, give us your second draft pick.
Okay. The second one would have to be I think this I get three, right? This is
Yeah,
just my
yep.
second
So
one. Okay.
you'll do your second one, and
Okay.
then I'll go once, and then you do your third one.
Okay. The second one would have to be Secret Among the Pros.
Damn. Yeah, I could just forfeit right now. I think you just won this with those two.
Because like, okay, so remember earlier in our conversation, I was saying the US, a
Yeah.
lot of it is determined about tournament
Mhm.
pros and what they say.
Yep.
And so if you put in secret among the pros,
Yeah.
well, everybody wants to know the secret that the
Yep.
pros fishing.
Yeah.
So boom, easy, dude.
Damn.
Come on.
Damn. Yeah.
Come
Okay.
on.
I'll just send me your new address. I'll send
Okay.
this bait out to you. Uh, so my first, I could say my first draft pick, and this is like probably your second round draft pick right here. But so my
Here we
first
go.
pick, I'm gonna go with the old classic. You need to try this.
Ooh, yeah. You know,
It's
I thought
kind of a little
about that one,
mysterious. Somebody
bro.
reads that and they're like, "Shit, what do I need to try? What am I not doing already?"
uh, yeah. Wait. You know, one of your best videos is the Huddleston and the Tyrant. You need to use these to catch the biggest fish in your
Yeah,
lake or
yeah,
whatever. And it did well. That's fine. Oh, that's a good one. You need to try this.
yeah. I,
Yeah,
I don't know, dude. I mean,
that's a good one.
it's an
That's a good one.
okay one. I don't think it
No,
was a
it's
solid
good,
first pick. You could snipe my
dude.
second best one or like one of my best one with this third pick of yours, but I'm confident we might be able if this third one goes down the drain for you, I might be able to claw my way back with the next two I have.
Okay, okay, okay.
So
I got my third one.
yeah, I
I
was
got
about to
my
say go
third one.
go with
It's
your
over.
third one. Yeah.
It it's over, bro. You've lost. My third one is using. Ugh, I'm gonna go with river monsters.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah, I'm just going with it. River monsters because Jeremy Wade is the absolute goat of that stuff. And if you use river monsters or if you use something monsters in your title, it just works.
Yeah.
It just works, dude.
Hmm.
So, I mean, I've used monster in some of my titles and the videos have done well. I
Yeah.
know Phoenix has a video saying I call it a Japanese lake monster.
Mm.
Like it just works. And so
Yeah.
River Monsters is a good one.
Okay. Okay.
It's
Um,
done. I
th
don't know what to tell you, bro.
my
It's done.
second one is
Okay.
you won't believe.
Ooh.
You won't
You
believe
won't
how
believe.
much this bait
That's a
cost.
classic.
You won't
Yeah, it's a
believe
classic.
what this bass ate. I, I,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
It's a classic.
It's
So both of yours have started with you. You
yeah.
need this or you can't believe this. And
Yeah.
I had this conversation with Phoenix actually literally yesterday. I'm like, the you part
Hmm.
works so well in titles.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
works so well. So you've gone that route and I like that.
It's engaging. You read it and you're like, it's
Yeah.
like when you know I'm watching
He's talking to
Marshall's
me.
YouTube
Yeah,
videos.
he's
You're
talking
like,
to me.
Adrian, I know you're watching this. It's like he's talking to me. Like
He's
this
talking to me.
guy made this YouTube video and it's specifically catered for me. It popped up in my algorithm and it's saying you as
Yep.
in me. Like I need to do this. I need to try this.
Yep.
I
Yeah,
I
I won't believe this.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, for my
Oh
third
man.
one, I actually
Come
I'm
on.
mad-libbing this one. I didn't write it down. I was just thinking about it.
Okay.
But it would be along the lines of um
Come
like
on. Spit it out. You
I
got
don't know.
it.
Like I guess the word so I have two right here. And I guess I will go with um
Come on.
this expensive. So it's like this expensive bait,
Ooh.
this expensive rod. So
Mm.
it was either expensive or giant.
Mm.
Kind of going with your river
Oh
monsters
yeah.
there. Giant.
Yep.
This giant lure, well, this
Yep.
giant lake.
Yep.
I guess giant isn't as plug and play as this expensive. This expensive, you know, uh even just expensive, like this expensive trip
Yeah.
was worth
Yep.
it. I don't know. You could plug and play that
Mm-hmm.
into a couple different scenarios throughout multiple
So you're
videos.
gonna go with expensive
Yeah, expensive.
instead of giant. Okay.
Yeah, expensive.
Okay.
Like this expensive bait caught me this giant. Yeah, yeah, double dipping right there.
Okay. So that's your three.
Yeah,
So you need to try this.
yeah,
You can't believe this,
yeah,
and you have expensive.
yeah.
And then mine was
Don't do this.
secret among
Or,
the yeah mistakes not to do.
yep.
And then um, I
Like
had the
secrets.
secret among the pros,
Yep.
and then river monsters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm happy,
I
dude. We're winning a championship with that lineup. I don't know what to tell you, bro. We are
82,
winning the
82 and 0,
championship.
straight to the champ.
Yeah. Hey.
I think you could have tweaked your second one just slightly. The pros don't want you to know this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Same thing. You could have
Well,
just worded it a little
secret
different.
among the pros is good.
Yeah.
Secret of among the pros is good. It's kind of sort of like that. The pros don't want you to know,
Yeah,
or
yeah. I was about to say,
secret
yeah, just
among the pros.
a couple different words there switched around. But if that's like the you thing, if you put pros in there, everybody who
Yep.
bass fishes, whether they own a bass boat or not, they at least know one
Right.
guy. They at least know who Kevin Van Dam is. He's a pro. What does he
Right.
not want me knowing?
He's a
What does
pro.
he know that I don't know?
Yeah. Yeah. What is? Tell me Kevin Van Dam's secrets. I need
Yeah,
to
yeah.
know.
Oh man. Yeah, tell me
Uh,
your tell me these secrets that you're putting to work in the desert and I don't know them here in the state of Kevin Van Dam.
uh,
What don't I know?
dude, YouTube titles are so dumb.
Dude,
They're
it's
so
solid.
dumb.
It was either gonna be that or thumbnails, but thumbnails are kind of hard to describe. I was gonna be like maybe
Yeah.
one
Very
catchy
hard.
thing in each thumbnail, but I thought or
Right.
the
Yep.
title thing, I thought that was good because there's
Yeah.
a couple of us that bounce title ideas off each other. And sometimes
Yep. Yep.
sometimes people are like, that is the worst title ever. Do not do that.
Yes.
Marshall
Absolutely.
Marshall is a
Yes.
big fan of shooting down title names. I don't know if you've sent Marshall any titles. I've sent him multiple, and he's like, no, do not do that.
Well,
And then he'll just say that
it's
he
funny
won't add
because
anything, and then Phoenix will give me more
right.
ideas. Marshall just says,
Right.
nope, terrible, don't
Well,
do it.
the problem with Marshall is Marshall makes some awful titles. And I'm like, and I'll message him. I'm like, why did you not want your video to do well? He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, your title is fishing for fish and I caught fish. Bro, what are we doing here? The
Yeah,
video was actually pretty good. If you would have just titled it correctly, you probably could have got views on it.
yeah.
He's like, oh, dude, it's whatever. I'm like, this guy is insane. This guy is so insane.
I'm gonna make another
But
video in a
yeah,
day and a half, so it doesn't matter.
yeah, it doesn't matter. Don't listen to Marshall when it comes down to titles. That guy is ridiculous. Listen to Phoenix because Phoenix is good.
Yeah, Phoenix is pretty good at
Phoenix
it.
is good. I always run my shit by Phoenix. And listen to me because I'm gonna win this draft fantasy. So you just need to start listening to me.
There we go. Perfect. Heck yeah,
That's
man.
simple.
Beautiful, Geoff. Where if the listeners have made it this far, probably like just shy of two
Probably not.
hours, where can they follow the King if they're not already following the King on all social media platforms that we can
Uh,
find the King at?
you can follow me on just Geoffrey the King both on YouTube and Instagram. I just changed my YouTube from Crazy Bass Fisher to Geoffrey the King, just so I can have
Yeah.
both names be on both platforms, so it makes it easy. I think Adrian, you were gonna take Crazy Bass Fisher
Yo,
soon.
yes, yes. I was gonna take it from
Keep
you.
that torch lit.
Yes.
But yeah, just Geoffrey the King on Instagram and YouTube, and that's it. That's it. I
Uh,
might start a Patreon one day.
you're
Um,
missing two gigantic platforms that we touched on way at the beginning, the Kick and Rumble,
oh yes.
the 24-hour
If
sleep
you guys
stream
want to
that
check
Geoff
out
does every night.
my Kick and my Rumble, we get super crazy. We go to clubs. We go to soaplands. We do some rowdy stuff on that platform. My name on that is King Geoffrey the Second. So
The
please just go to
prophecy.
Kick and Rumble. Yeah, the prophecy. Yep. So go on Kick and Rumble. You'll see me there for sure. Maybe we get you on a stream.
24-hour stream. It's either he's sleeping or he's playing Subway Surfers while listening to Japanese lessons on loop. That's all he does
How
throughout
did
these
you? Yeah,
24-hour
but
streams,
yeah,
guys.
that's it. I just need you guys to or whatever.
The premium subscription,
Um,
so I get paid $2.
and then I'm gonna start a GoFundMe to
Oh,
get Adrian to come to Japan.
yes.
That goal I think is like 10 grand. So just send all the money you got,
Eventually.
and we'll get Adrian to Japan.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll happen
Uh,
eventually. There's a lot of things that'll happen eventually. Eventually, Scales and
I
Tails will be
hope
a
so.
full-time job and I can just do whatever I want like Marshall. So
Right,
it's all in the
right.
world of eventually it's gonna happen. Just
It's
eventually.
coming.
Yeah, eventually.
It's coming.
Yes. Heck yeah, man. Well, Geoff, thank you for coming on, my man. It's only been uh 18 months. It hasn't been that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Just
only been 18 months. But again, like
only
we
18 months.
talk a couple times a week, so it doesn't
Right.
I would have guessed you were on last year, 2024,
That's what
but
I'm saying. That's what I'm
it
saying.
is not the
I can't
case.
believe it.
Okay, we'll start the GoFundMe to get you to come up here too. We'll
Yep.
get you to come up here
Oh, oh, okay. Yeah,
in the
10 grand.
summertime. In the summertime.
Right. I'm coming.
Because
I gotta come. I'm
if
not
not,
staying here.
Geoff
There's
will
no way I
freeze.
stay here.
If you come here in the wintertime,
Yeah,
you'll freeze. If I come down there in the summertime, I'll be a puddle.
you'll
So
die. Yeah, you'll
it's
just die.
yeah, we can thaw
So
you out. We can't recreate matter once I'm melted away
no, no,
in the bottom of your
I'm
boat.
not good at wax figures.
No, it's
So
just turn the
you're
bilge
done
on and
for.
put me overboard if that's the case. It'd be easier that way for everybody.
Yeah.
Well, heck yeah, man. Well, guys, if you don't follow Geoff, I'll put all of his stuff in the description so you guys can go follow him if you're not already. Subscribe to the YouTube,
Arigatou
follow
gozaimasu.
him on the Instagram. Do you have a set YouTube schedule that you do, or is it just like a video every like week and a half?
Um, I'm gonna say this so maybe I can hold myself a little more accountable, but I'm gonna try and post every Monday and Friday.
Mm.
Now, I don't know how long this is gonna last for, but I'm gonna try and post every Monday and Friday on YouTube. Instagram, just up in the air.
Yeah.
But YouTube, I'm gonna try and be a little more consistent. Post Monday and Friday, but uh, if I don't post every Monday and Friday, this will be cut out of the episode.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
And
you guys won't be hearing this.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You guys won't ever hear this, so.
Heck yeah, man. Well, as always, thank you guys for listening. I hope
Yep.
you enjoyed this episode. Follow Geoff if you don't already. Follow the media page, Scales and Tails Media on Instagram,
Yep.
everywhere else where you can
Please.
find Geoff. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, make sure you're not only subscribed to myself, but Geoff. And I guess, as always, Geoff, thank you for coming on again, man. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you
Yes,
enjoyed.
sir.
We're on the rails to episode 200, which is absolutely crazy. But as always,
It's
thank you
coming,
guys for
baby.
listening. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, Geoff.
Jamata.